next question is how pretty much you got there. You know, were you like you're racing before a little bit or like?
Well, I had done some autocrossing before GT Academy, but I'd never done any racing or wheel to wheel, anything like that.
Okay.
So the competition started in, I think, February, and it was a series of online rounds. You know, you played at home and set your best times. And the top 32 players went to Orlando for the national finals, where they did head-to-head Gran Turismo. And then the top 16 from there went to Silverstone Racetrack in England for a week-long racing school / reality TV show / driver search competition. And I ended up winning that. So since the beginning of July, I've been living in the UK, doing a driver development program for Nissan. Got my international racing license, and in January, I'm racing at the 24 Hours of Dubai, along with all the other GT Academy drivers. So all 4 drivers will be graduates of the GT Academy in that race.
Okay. So what were you autocrossing before getting into this? Your daily driver or?
Yeah, just my street cars or my friends' cars or whatever I could find. No race cars really.
Nothing fancy.
No, just sports cars.
So what kind of setup do you have for playing Gran Turismo? Do you have the whole like kit with the seat and all that stuff?
Yeah. Oh, I sold it when I moved to the UK, but I had a seat that sat on the floor and the pedals adjusted, and I had the steering wheel and everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you had like how many hours did you play? Just like were you like you think you were like talented with that games, or you were like decided like for like I'm gonna take a month vacation and I'm gonna do that for a month?
No, I've been playing since the original Gran Turismo came out, and I couldn't tell you how many hours I've played. It's countless.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously there was a big push during the GT Academy. Obviously I played more than normal.
Yeah.
I don't know how much I played. Maybe 3-4 hours a week.
3-4 hours.
Normally.
Not too much then.
No.
It's not crazy.
No.
And did you enter previous competition? Because in the past, from previous version, they had some other competition before, like some time attack. I think I remember. That's the first Gran Turismo competition you got in.
There was one my local game store put on when GT4 came out. And it was just like a local tournament, and if you won, you would get a free copy of GT4.
Okay.
I came second.
Second. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, this was the first like major competition that I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Because they had it in Europe for a few years.
Yeah.
And this is the first time they did it for North America.
Okay. So you were living before in the UK, or you have always been living in the US?
Well, yeah, I've always been living in California.
Always in California.
I just moved to the UK to do the driver development program since that's where it was based.
Okay. So what kind of deal they offered you when you won this competition? Pretty much like, are you an employee now?
Well, the prize is the driver development program.
Okay.
It's about 6 months, and then after the end of it in Dubai, hopefully it will lead to longer term contract.
Okay. So
at the moment, I don't know.
Okay.
But I mean, that's the goal for sure.
Okay. So right now, when you quitted your job for doing that, it's a big.
Well, that's the
big
thing. I was actually out of work at the time.
Okay.
So I didn't have to quit a job.
Okay. And you have like a family coming with you, or you on your own?
Well, no. Just my parents and my sister still live back home in California.
That was perfect for you then. Just took the prize and ran with it.
Yeah, exactly. All I had to do was take care of my house in Fresno. But
so what would you say Gran Turismo teach you the best? Is it like the driving line, the braking distance, or do you have any particular thing that you think like right out of the game you can apply right away?
It's all of those things, but I think GT5 in particular. It rewards minimal steering input, which is true to a real car as well. If you crank the steering over in a real car and the tires are doing this, the car just wants to push straight ahead. And a lot of driving games let you do that and the car will still turn.
Yeah.
But GT5, it's more like a real car in that way. It really rewards smooth, precise inputs.
Okay. Okay.
I think that's like the biggest thing that GT5 in particular does well.
Okay. And I assume the main difference between the game and the car is that then you're actually moving and it can actually get scary. So like, did you had any problem adapting to the speed or the brisk, or maybe you got too close to a wall, or are you dealing with that so far?
No, so far it's fine. Yeah, like you say, the biggest difference is that if you make a mistake in a real car, it's costly. There's no reset button or anything. But adjusting to the speed is actually not that hard. You just, if you have the confidence, the confidence in the car, the confidence in yourself, not to drive beyond yourself. The speed is just, it's fun more than anything.
Do you think it might even be harder to play on the game because you don't have the feedback from the car, or it's still harder to do it on the car?
I think for me, maybe the game is not that hard because I grew up playing racing games, and I grew up, not having that feedback. I think for people who grew up racing and then they play the game, they miss that feedback, and so it becomes harder for them to play the game. But I think for me, it's probably about equal.
Equal.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you try to play on with those PC simulator like R-Factor that everybody says they are a little bit more closer to the feedback of the car? And did you play with those, and what do you think of those?
Yeah, I've played a lot of PC racing games as well. I have fun with all of them, really.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I'll try pretty much everything that's out there.
What do you think would you explain the difference between playing the PC simulator and playing GT5, and what's best in both of those? Is there any particular thing that differentiates those games?
Well, GT5 is obviously a lot easier to just pick up and play because it's a console game. You just turn it on and you go. The PC games, you really have to be kind of super dedicated and into it, building your own gaming system and configuring everything. So I'd say like the PC racing simulators are kind of like exclusively for the hardcore, whereas GT5 is more, it's for people who want a hardcore simulator, but it's also for people who just want to pick something up and drive as well.
Yeah. But when you play PC simulator, you didn't think that they would bring something more to the plate, or they would be more precise than GT5, maybe because there is more power in the PC or something like this, or for you it's pretty much the same?
I don't know really. I mean, it's maybe one could be more powerful than the other, but I think it comes down to feel more than anything. And there's actually some quite old games that have really good feel. They may not be as pretty.
So what old game do you like? Like the old Gran Turismo, or do you have any old reference games that you like?
Probably the first driving game that really started to feel realistic to me was Grand Prix Legends.
Grand Prix Legends?
Yeah, and that was before Gran Turismo came out, or maybe right about the same time. But those two were like the first time that I felt like racing simulators were really starting to become realistic.
Okay. And did you always play with? Did you play very early with the whole setup, the wheels and the paddle? Because I had always a feeling that Gran Turismo, if you play with the joysticks, really hard to play. Especially the later the version, it seems the harder it gets.
Yeah.
It's more simulation.
Once you get used to playing with a wheel, it's hard to go back to the joystick.
Yeah.
Actually, I got my first wheel around the time Gran Turismo came out. Obviously, the first Gran Turismo wasn't compatible with the wheel, but I had a wheel for the PC.
So you have been a wheel player for a while?
Yeah, since I think the late 90s, something like that, yeah.
Okay, sounds good. And so how do you feel about the next competition? Like, do you feel confident? Do you think like that you're missing that karting experience that some people have, or you don't really feel anything you're lacking at the moment, or how do you feel about?
Well, in terms of driving in a real car?
Yeah, but your experience, jumping directly from games to racing, when most drivers have all that background, usually have karting and different formulas and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I think that's the beauty of the program to me. I mean, because I didn't have the opportunities to grow up go-karting or racing in like a younger series. So, I mean, for me, this is the only way that I could get into racing. That's what I've always wanted to do, and I think it's really cool that Sony and Nissan had the guts to put a program like this together to give somebody a chance who normally might not have that chance to go racing.
But do you think that maybe the karting experience would have bring you some some edge, or maybe gaming actually bring you a specific edge compared to the driver, or you feel as equal right now?
Well, that's an interesting question that I don't know the answer to yet. Maybe as I get further along in my career, I can learn more about that. I don't really feel at a disadvantage. I mean, I have great driving coaches. I'm racing almost every weekend, so I have all the tools at my disposal. It's just a little bit of a later start than most people got, but I'm gonna make the best of it and see what happens.
And right now, do you still train on the games, or you pretty much focus 100% on just on the track, or are you still interacting with the game at all?
I still try to play when I have time, which isn't too often anymore.
Okay.
But yeah, I love to get a quick race in when I can.
Okay. Because we hear a lot of drivers saying, I prepare myself to learn the track a little bit more, on the game before something like this. And I don't know if that's something you still do, or now all your training is just on the track.
Yeah, pretty much. I think there is a lot of value to learning a track in a simulator because it's much cheaper than actually going to the track to test. And it'll tell you a lot about the camber of the corners, not just which way the track goes, but kind of the character and the rhythm of a track.
Okay. Well, I think I'm about it with my question. Is there anything, I don't know, any crazy questions some people asked you before and you think are really special to your experience?
Nothing's coming to mind right now. I haven't had my coffee yet.
Okay, sounds good. Well, I think we're good.
Cool.
Thank you, Bryan.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Very informative and always great to know that it's possible.
Yeah.